Hello, good morning and welcome to News Desk here on your Joy News Channel Multi TV. Coming up this hour, opposing New Patriotic Party blames what it describes as the poor state of the country's economy on bad governance and the misappropriation of state funds by government appointees. More than 3.5 million Ghanaian children trapped in poverty, according to a new report by the World Bank and UNICEF. We'll tell you more about that in a bit. And as we join millions across the globe celebrate World Teachers Day, we find out the most interesting encounters you've had with your teacher. And we'll obviously start off from the newsroom because there are quite a number of people there have a lot to share about their teachers. But we have details of these, including updates in business and sports, coming up in the next hour here on News. Stay with us. My name is Kwabna Chenchen Hilibuati. Many thanks for joining us here on News Day. So our very first story this morning, and former Minister of the Interior under the Kufuor administration, Kandapa, has blamed the sorry state of the country's economy on bad governance and stealing from state coffers by appointees of President John Dramani Mahama. The former minister, who is also a former chair of the Public Accounts Committee, lamented on the NPP campaign trail in the Ablekuma West constituency that he has witnessed firsthand how appointees who appeared before the committee steal from the state with impunity and get away with it. Now, he is therefore charging party supporters to vote massively for the flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa, in the upcoming December polls.
I have sat on a public account committee and have seen how government appointees steal from the state and get away with it. It is why we are facing all these hardships. Let's vote out the NDC.
Asla Owusu Ekufo is the incumbent member of parliament for the constituency. Her bid for re-election is threatened by the former constituency chairman of the party, Theophilus Tete, who is contesting for the seat as an independent candidate. According to Asla, she's not been frequenting the constituency because of security reasons. She, however, begged people to retain her as the MP for the constituency.
Your fruit, your panel, and your piano.
You always have to support a performing candidate. This is not a time for experiment on any candidate. All we know is the elephant. I am the parliamentary candidate for the party, and Nana is our candidate, so vote for us.
The party's flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, laid bare reasons for which he should be made president. He took a swipe at the vice president for alleging that the MPP is planning to rig the upcoming elections.
The vice president is accusing us of planning to rig the elections. I just don't get it. I think somebody has told the NDC they will lose the elections. That is why they are coming out with all these excuses.
We are winning this election.
Some disgruntled party faithful.
I'll be bringing you a lot more on that in a bit. But let's just stay with the NPP. This time around, the acting general secretary of the party, John Bodu, says the party is engaging aggrieved members who have decided to contest as independent parliamentary candidates to ensure that they join the party. This comes on the back of some members of the NPP filing to contest as independent candidates. A case in point is the Ablekuma West constituency. Now, the acting secretary, however, believes the engagement has started reaping some benefits, leading to some of the candidates rescinding their decision.
Getting individuals from political parties to go independent, it's been with us for years. One will have thought that we will have gotten to a point that we won't have some of these difficulties. I think that there were some few challenges. You realize that some of them whose names came up for mentioning, some of them are saying, oh, they put in, yes, it is true, but they are withdrawing. Honorable Kukofu, for instance, is a clear example of someone who put in to contest as an independent candidate and has withdrawn, even not waiting for the filing fees, which has become a difficulty, is now in court for court to determine. Because if you put in and you are not able to make due when the Electoral Commission calls for you to pay the filing fee, if you don't pay, it means that you are not a candidate. You understand? I'm aware of Honorable Opare Hammond in the Kropong, who also says that, oh, he has returned. And a lot of them like that. So I think that, yes, some of them are worried. Some of them, we've done our best to get them to see reason with not taking or embarking on that political suicidal path. Some of them are adamant, but we will continue to get them back. We continue to talk to them, continue to admonish them and get them to understand that the New Patriotic Party is a vehicle for success. Some of them for lack of understanding positions that has been taken by a party. And for some of them, personally, I call. And oh no, they didn't know that this was the situation. They thought that X and Y was the position, and because of that, they are throwing. So it is for that reason. And as I speak now, I think that it's good for the party.
I'm asking that because just yesterday at the Ablekuma West constituency, where you have a former constituency chairman contesting as an independent candidate, and when your flag bearer mounted a platform, he said that as a party, if you lose an election, and he even made reference to Alan Chemantin losing and standing beside him campaigning, and he says if you lose an election and you think that because of that you want to leave the party says thank you to you for your services over the years. And already some political scientists are saying such comments doesn't really help.
The Kuma West issue is even entirely different. He opted out of the contest, you understand. In other places, few of them contested and lost and decided to go independent. I think that, you see, if such things happen, you need to take a position. As for political observers and scientists, they will say they are bits because they are not practitioners.
Yeah, but their point,
because they don't know what has been going on behind the scenes. There are situations that you need to also motivate the very people who are standing up for you as a party. There are situations where people who go independent create more problems for you. You understand? There are situations where people who go independent end up reducing the margins, especially the presidential margins of the political party. So you need to be very, very...
And which will you place the Ablekuma West one?
Oh, it's the process that he did not find it convenient, you know, and I think that we still will have to, obviously, for the parliamentary, we are going to win. Isla is an astute and practical politician, we are going to win. But that's notwithstanding, we think that we still will open our arms, and those who felt or in one way or the other did not agree with the process. This is a bigger party. We still accept that, yes, you disagree. But parliamentary elections is not like presidential election where you have only 2 terms.
Acting General Secretary of the Opposition Patriotic Party, John Boydo, in an interaction there with Joseph Akable earlier on. Well, he's also been daring the General Secretary of the Governing National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esedun Ketia, to raise issues when debating if indeed he wants to engage him.
Statements that are not correct, and you give it publicity. So he also thinks that he's popular, to the extent that he even wants a debate with me with this kind of trash sometimes. If you want proper debate, you should raise issues that make sense. It should raise issues that the Ghanaian people will benefit from a debate, you understand? How many times has the NDC not postponed their launching of their manifesto? You know it. To the extent I got to a point that they said they have difficulties in printing. You understand? So I think that for them, anything we hear from them, it's just pure talk. Because if I have an opponent who decides not to even launch his manifesto, and I think it is advantageous to me, I'll keep quiet. The mere fact that you see them talking clearly tells you that it is having an effect on them. And you see that this year round, this term, we've developed a different strategy in the way we are pushing our manifesto, to the extent that knowing who we are competing with, even when we had come out publicly to say that before we launch our manifesto, these are issues that we will raise. They even went and picked them and put it in their manifesto. And they are not shameful about it. They are not remorse about it. They are not even apologizing for doing that. And they have the guts to tell us to go and pick what. I think that's, let us concentrate.
Indeed, yet again, the Acting General Secretary of the Opposition Patriotic Party, John Boydo, speaking to Joseph Akable. And you do know that the party will be launching its manifesto later this weekend. It will be on Sunday around the trade area. We'll be bringing you a live coverage. Remember, this is your election headquarters. This is where you get the most comprehensive coverage of all election-related content right here in the country. And with some few days to the elections, remember, this is where you can get the very latest as far as that very information on politics is concerned. We are mobile. Also, you can catch us on television, online, and indeed on radio as well. The hashtag on social media is ElectionHQ. Remember to always add that to your messages when you want to share it with the rest of the world. ElectionHQ. Away from that now, and some residents of the Ablekuma West Constituency in the Greater Accra region are crying for better road network and drainage systems. According to residents who spoke to Joy News, they believe their Member of Parliament could have done more if her party was in government. Now, this constituency promises to present a keen contest between the MPP's Eslo Kufo and the NDC's Diana Chum, following the decision of the MPP's constituency chairman to contest the seat as an independent candidate. Well, journalist Joseph Akable spent some time in the constituency finding out more in the following report.
One of the 45 constituencies created prior to the 2012 general elections, the Ablekuma West constituency, carved out of the Ablekuma South constituency. Just before we look at the candidates who will be contesting in this constituency for this year, let's talk a bit about how it has been in terms of the political parties and their candidates and who has emerged victorious since 1992. For the 1992 elections, Kweno Metal of the NDC emerged victorious. The constituency then was the Ablekuma South. It remained as the Ablekuma South, but in 1996, Theresa Tego of the MPP emerged victorious. She held on to the seat until 2008 when the MPP changed its parliamentary candidate. Francis Kojo Smith contested against the NDC's Fritz Bafo, with Fritz Bafo emerging victorious. Now in 2012, when Ablekuma South constituency was separated so that we have Ablekuma West and Ablekuma South. For the Ablekuma West constituency, Esla Owusu Ekufu emerged victorious, beating the NDC's Victoria Hammer by some 1,082 votes. Now for this year's polls, even though the MPP holds on to the seat, the dynamic will be a bit different. And it all has to do with the fact that a member of the MPP has abandoned the party and is contesting as an independent candidate. I'm talking about Theophilus Tete, who was a constituency chairman of the party. Now he'll be contesting as an independent candidate. Also for the MPP, Esla Owusu Ekufu, the incumbent, will be contesting again. Whilst for the NDC, Dinah Chum will be the party's candidate. It will be a keenly contested race. Your election headquarters is here to speak to the electorates, to find out from them how the past 4 years has been, any challenges, and what the success story has been. We also seek to find out from them what the key factors will be in their choice of a candidate for this year's polls. Let's take a walk around town and let's talk to some electorates.
Oh, it's not bad. Anyway, she's doing what she can because it's not her party which is in power. So even other things that we need, if she goes to the parliament and asks, oh, we need this, she wouldn't get it because here is not an, let's say, a strong NDC area. So they might decide not to give her or not. So she has done what she can, but I think that she has to step up more. But let's give you another chance and let's see what will happen.
I think it's okay, but not quite impressive, but it's fine. But, you know, we had issues with light, and in this constituency we have issues with water, with our roads, you know, and we expect all these needs to be met. So once they've not been met, I think we just hope for the best. I've always voted for one person, and that's how it's going to be. So I don't think it's going to change. The trend will change. But what I know is MPs and what they do, you know, their work is basically about making the laws work. That is what I think they do. So we'll just give her the nod for her to go represent us and then do things on our behalf.
Things are not going well because a party is not in power. I am a taxi driver. I cannot pay insurance. Getting a license is tough. On development issues, even though she's not achieving much, it's because her party is not in power. My vote will be influenced by the truthful nature of the candidates, one who is fair to all and can fix our road challenges. One who is honest and bold enough to use funds for the intended purpose.
Life is normal. Our MP doesn't really help much. Because of that, I have transferred my vote to Wejak Bawi to vote for Obobia. I'm praying she's voted out. If not, then she needs to do more. She had to help the youth. She couldn't.
For 4 years,
For the past 4 years, looking at the things government is doing and the things she was supposed to do, you can't help but say a lot is not going well. When things are being done, it should be fair to all. But because she's not in power, she doesn't get much for us.
So you've heard from some electorates. We first told you a bit more about the constituency. You have heard them share some challenges facing the constituency as well as the successes chalked over the years. This is your election headquarters, Joseph Akable, Ablekuma West constituency.
We are still live here on News Desk on your Joy News channel Multi TV. It's also available on your Go TV channel 144 and your DSTV channel 421. You could also catch us on Facebook via Facebook Live on our Joy News page on that very platform. When we return after this break, we'll tell you the story of that very report. It has to do with more than 3.5 million Ghanaian children whom you're told are now trapped in poverty, and that's contained in a new report by the World Bank and UNICEF. Details after this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Desk. Now, more than 3.5 million Ghanaian children are now trapped in poverty. That's according to a new report by the World Bank and UNICEF. Globally, nearly 385 million children are living in extreme poverty. Ghana was one of the first countries to meet the MDG deadline of halving the number of people living in poverty by 2015. But this new study now says efforts have slowed recently, with the income inequality gap in Ghana at an all-time high. Children the most affected, and it goes on to conclude. But joining us Justice Beidou has been speaking with Chief of Social Policy at UNICEF Ghana, Sarah Haig, to find out details of this very report.
Also found beyond that basic statistic that almost 1 in 3 children are poor, is that if you're a child, you're much more likely to be poor in Ghana than if you're an adult. It's also very important for the future of the country as a whole. If a child is poor, then they grow up to be a poor teenager, they grow up to be a poor adult, they do less well in school, they're less healthy, they do less well at finding a job and earning an income. So it just perpetuates, if you like, that cycle of poverty.
People would naturally say that children are not supposed to work, children do not have the opportunities of earning money on their own, so it's only natural that they are poorer than adults. So why is it necessarily special that this report is now pointing out that children are more likely to be poorer than adults?
I mean, the analysis doesn't consider whether a child works or not. We would assume that a child should not be working, but in actual fact, they often are. Ghana has one of the highest levels of child work out of any country in the world. So a lot of children are actually contributing to the income of their household, whereas they should actually be at school, or they should be at home playing or growing up with their family. So I think this is important because we're finding that children are becoming increasingly concentrated in poor households. So government needs to target its support to those households and those areas of the country which are more poor, because poverty and deprivation is becoming concentrated in smaller areas. And what we're seeing when you look at a map of the country is that there are some districts or some communities that are doing pretty well. They're advancing, they have health and education services in place, people are getting access, but there might be a district right next door to that one that's doing well, which is doing very, very poorly. And it is those districts and those communities that we need to focus on and to provide them more targeted support. And at the moment, that's not really the case. Pretty much every district gets a very similar amount of money from central government to deliver on its obligations, whereas there are some which are doing so much worse. They're really facing major challenges which need to be tackled.
Why is this report so important, and why do you think there should be action from duty bearers and government?
I mean, I think it's important to say that Ghana has made a lot of progress. Remember the Millennium Development Goals, right? The first Millennium Development Goal target is about halving poverty, and the deadline was to do that by 2015. And the data from GSS tells that Ghana actually did that. And very few countries in the world did this. Very few countries in Africa managed to halve poverty. But Ghana did it. And did it slightly ahead of the deadline. So we should certainly recognize that Ghana has done very, very well. But what we found in our analysis is that the progress has been slowing down dramatically. progress in getting people out of poverty is much slower now than it used to be. But also, we know it has this knock-on impact for the growth of the country. We can't expect Ghana to continue to develop unless we have deliberate, specific policies in place to include everybody. So at the moment, if you still have almost 1 in 3 children living in poverty, it means they're not part of the country's development, and they won't be in the future. So we can't have this inclusive development that Ghana really needs. So this is something that the government know they need to look at, and I understand that it's something that they're working towards at the moment, which is very important. Well, one key issue that we've identified is that inequality in Ghana is now at its highest level ever. So this basically means the gap between the people that have and the people that have not is getting larger and larger every day. It's at its highest level ever. And this is important for those people who are left behind. It's also important for the development of the country as a whole. So we need to make specific policy choices to make sure that these people are not left behind. But as I said, the government seems to recognize this. A lot of other actors seem to be recognizing this, and discussions have started to change. Even this year in May, the National Development Planning Commission held a very large discussion, a dialogue with a number of key ministries, including the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, but also the Ministry of Finance, so where the money is, and also the Ministry of Agriculture, where a lot of the poor people are living. And they came together with well over 300 people to discuss this issue and to agree specific actions which need to be undertaken to address it. So we now have this national agreement at the highest level in government and civil society and media that something needs to be done about inequality. And we also have this list of very specific policy actions that need to be implemented. And these cover all kinds of different areas, like improving access to quality services, but expanding social protection, making agriculture more productive. There's a long list of things, but now we need to move toward the implementation. And sometimes it's difficult to have these discussions just before a presidential election, but I'm sure people will maintain the momentum and we can keep moving towards the objective.
Rather worrying the situation that exists in the country currently as far as child poverty is concerned. But do stay on this very channel, because later at 11 on Join News Interactive, we'll bring you, well, it's actually a special edition of the show. We'll bring you a very comprehensive report on that very issue I raised a short while ago. We'll delve into that report by UNICEF and the World Bank, and we'll be bringing you a lot more angles as to this very issue. We'll be having a lot more conversations around it later at 11 right here on Joy News Interactive. So do make a date with the team. Benis Abubedo and the entire team will be joining you in a bit. But away from that now, and today is World Teachers Day. Now this year's celebration marks the 50th anniversary of the adoption of the 1966 ILO UNESCO recommendation concerning the status of teachers. It is also the first World Teachers Day to be celebrated within the new Global Education 2030 agenda adopted by the world community 1 year ago. This year's theme, Valuing Teachers, Improving Their Status, embodies the fundamental principles of the 50-year-old recommendation while shining a light on the need to support teachers as reflected in the agenda. Well, here in Ghana, in the Bunafo region to be precise, there will be a number of activities to commemorate the day. But even before that, let me take you to the Joy Newsroom, because my colleague Matilda Pomega has been finding out from some journalists the most interesting encounters they have had with some of their teachers. Take a listen.
So I'm here with Benis Abubedo. She's a multimedia journalist and she's the host of Joy News Interactive. So Benis, let me first find out from you, which school did you attend?
Okay, for basic and junior high school education, I went to Akosombo International School. Then I continued in Infantaman Girls for my secondary, senior high school education. And I went to the Ghana Institute of Journalism for my degree.
Okay. Who are these teachers that you are so fond of that bring so much memories to you?
A lot of them. I remember in grade 2, Mrs. Ayeno, and I was quite, I was talkative, let me put it that way. And I remember she told me once that you're going to be a journalist, you know. She actually told my parents, and I'm a journalist now. So thank you, Mrs. Ayeno, to Miss Babo, too, at Infantaman Girls. I was a visual arts student, but she made me believe that I could rub shoulders with general arts students. And she actually encouraged me to study hard. And, well, that's why I am here today, Mrs. Obing, Mrs. Manford, a lot. I can't mention all the names, but these people have had great impact. And at GIJ, Dr. Tayman, Mr. Boating, oh my goodness, just too many of them, Mr. Jehu, a lot of them, but these are the few that I can readily say, or readily remember, and say they
at least I share with you with Mr. Jehu.
Oh,
at
sure.
least, yes.
Yeah, you're right. But thank you, all of you, especially Mrs. Ayano. In grade 2, you told me I was going to be a journalist, and here I am today. I don't know how you did it, but here I am today.
Okay, so we'll continue to the newsroom where I'll be interacting with a few of my colleagues to find out from them their fondest memories of teachers. So I'm here with Fifi Kumsin, our documentaries editor. So Fifi, what is the most memorable thing you remember of your teacher?
Well, I think my teachers were great people. I loved all the subjects when I was in junior high school. But I remember this one, my technical skills, and my technical skills teacher. I remember the stories about the front elevation and the back elevation. These were theories and terms I hardly understood at the time. But I remember that teacher took the pains to take me through these. I also remember my math teacher in senior high school, Mr. Amwafo. I was almost completely lost when it came to mathematics at the senior high school level. But Mr. Amwafo took me through these. I got to understand the basics, the rudiments of mathematics, the fundamentals. And that got me to understand the subject and also understand physics and chemistry, the most technical and difficult subjects in the senior high school level. So,
which school is that?
Oh, the junior high school or the senior high school? The junior high school, Salmania Islamic Primary and Junior High School. The senior high school, Tokose Senior High School. Later on, Ngleshi Amanfro Senior High School.
So Derek Ekosam is a multimedia journalist. In fact, all the posts you see on our social media platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, he's the man in charge. He's the man behind all the posts that you see. And he's also a roving reporter for the AM show. So Derek, let me first find out from you, which school did you attend?
I went to Meadow Basic School in Dakuman, and then I John.
Okay. So Derek, I'm sure there were some interesting moments back in this back those days in school. But let me find out from you, your teachers. How was the relationship like with you and your teachers?
Well, you know, I've always been a brilliant boy, so the teachers liked me. Especially one called Mr. Lutrot. We used to call him Pa Lutu. Now, yeah, this man he's made an impact on my life, especially in science and mathematics. He actually used to tutor me privately, so I would pass, and I did pass maths and science easily. Now the thing is that even when I get 98 out of 100, he will still cane me. And when it's time for mental and he's caning everybody else, I get a double dose of what everybody else gets. So you can see the pressure on me. And I think I'm forever grateful to Palutu, as we used to call him. Way back in SS, government was also very difficult for me from first year. And then I met Zakus, Isaac Owusu. He used to teach at Pope John. He made government very easy for me. He made it very nice and very simple. And so government, Charlie, once he government, one.
I have an all-time favorite teacher, Miss Ojima, my class teacher. She was so nice. She was so good to me. Sometimes recitals that I'm not even supposed to be in, without her permission, I'll just go and stand there, and she would encourage you to do it, even though you have not been at it, you know. And I think that she really helped my English, because she was that teacher who would insist that you speak good English. That teacher who cares about what did you eat. It's not like, you know, some teachers, if you go to school, especially on our day, they'll take your food and they'll eat and everything. So, you know, I mean, Miss Ojima wasn't like that. She was so nice to all of us, like Derek Badin, Belinda Badin, Irene Deribani. The class was fine with her.
Which school was that?
Oh, Kajano Presby School at South Labadi. Now I think it's South La Presby. Then it was Kajano Presby.
So still celebrating our teachers and your founders' memories of them. I'm going to speak to Fred Smith. He is a news editor here. So Fred, Which school did you attend? I mean, your primary school?
I attended Prince of Peace. It's in Accra, Bubiashi. I remember very well, at stage 4, I had Mr. Hayford. He was a very strict teacher. He ensured that all assignments they gave you had been executed to perfection. I had Mr. Aqua at stage 6. I also had Messier. All of these supported us academically, but more importantly, they helped us to undertake some extra curricular activities such as football, poetry, and debating clubs.
Which of them did you join? Were you a footballer, a debater? What did you do?
I was actually a footballer. I became a defender for the Prince of Peace school. Yeah, the school team. I remember on the day we're going to play a competitive game, my first competitive game, I was injured, but the teachers had to encourage me because I was the best defender for the right back. Messi, I remember him so much for that.
Why didn't you pursue the football?
Oh, I did. I played football to a very top level until
top level? Which level?
Very, very top level. I nearly entered the national under-17 team.
Oh.
Yeah, I nearly entered that, but my daddy wanted me to concentrate on something else, so that's why I didn't. But at the secondary school level, I remember this Chinese teacher, Lily Wu Pencha.
Which school was that?
Yellow Krobo Secondary School in Somanya. She gave me the foundation. She opened up the box of mathematics to me. I got to understand what mathematics was, and from that day, mathematics was no longer a subject. It was more like a hobby for me. The others were the subjects.
Okay, it's rather interesting. Apparently, we had a lot more footballers who have become journalists. I didn't know that up until now. But I also do wish I probably traded my primary school days with that of Sarah Mabla de Souza. She attended Kajano Primary School. Fantastic. We have details of these and a lot more coming up later in other bulletins. But time now for some business updates with Emmanuel Abadji, who has been standing by for some time now. Well, he joins us now.